Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do kind of a recap of my series goals for 2020 and what I think I'm going to do in 2021. I just put up a couple days ago my goals for recap for the whole year, all my goals, and then also what I'm going to do in 2021. But I wanted to make a special video for my series because last year was supposed to be the year of series. That was the year I was going to finish a lot of series. I was going to continue a lot of series, like catch up, and then I was going to decide on all the ones that I had not started yet. I didn't make much progress, so we're just going to go through. I mean, I really want this next year, 2021, to be a year where I get through a lot of things that I've been putting off for reasons I have no idea. So let's just go through what the list I had on that video, and then what I'm going to do in the next year, because there's a lot of books, a lot of other series I want to try to tackle this year, as well as the ones that I failed at this year. So the first one is a finish of the 4 that I put on my list. I didn't finish any of the series. There we go, we started it. Tad Williams, Sleeping Late on Judgment Day is the 3rd book in the Bobby Dollar urban fantasy series. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those days, guys. So this was kind of angels, demons, that kind of thing, urban fantasy in California, and I really liked the first 2 books, and then I had to wait for the 3rd book, and then I just never got back to it. So this has been sitting on my shelf for quite a while. So I want to finish this series. Again, it's a Tad Williams series. I love all his books mostly, so I was like, I need to finish that one. So I haven't got to that yet. The other one that was a 1 book and finish is The Future Falls by Tanya Huff. So this is the 3rd book in the Enchantment Emporium series. Yeah, Enchantment Emporium series. So these are urban fantasies as well, following a family who owns this Emporium thing, but the books are all different. They're all very different. The 2nd book I didn't like as well as the 1st book, but I still liked it. And so I have no idea about the 3rd book, except it looks like there's dragons. So why haven't I read this? I want to finish this series off. I really enjoyed it so far. So anyway, I need to do that. And then a series that I only wanted to finish the first trilogy in this series, but it continues on, but I wasn't forcing myself to finish that in 1 year. But now I'm even farther behind. So that is the Hidden Legacies series by Ilona Andrews. This is another urban fantasy series that is the first book I really, really enjoyed. Of course, I can't think of the name of the first one, but you know. Oh, Burn for Me. So I've read that twice now, trying to get ready for this. And so 2 years ago, or year and a half ago, I reread Burn for Me so I would continue, and I didn't. So this is book 2, and then there's a 3rd book for the trilogy, and then there's a book in the middle of that, and then another 2 books out so far of another trilogy that follows another character. So I just want to finish this first trilogy. I own all of them, don't get me wrong. I've collected them all, but I want to get through the next 2 books of this trilogy at least, and I did not do that this year. I didn't pick up any of them. And then the other series I really want to finish, I don't know why I haven't, is the Custard Protocol series by Gail Carriger. This is the series about Prudence and her friends on their adventure. And I've read Prudence, but not 2, 3, and 4 in this series. And I want to finish them. I own them all. This is actually, I mean, a couple of these are signed because I went and saw her when I was so excited, but I just didn't get through this one, and it wasn't its fault. I just didn't pick it up right away after I got it, and then the other books have now come out, so I can binge read this. I need to reread the first book, but again, I was hoping to get through all the 3 books I had left, and I didn't touch it at all. Anyway, so those are the ones I was hoping to finish. The series I was hoping to continue is I had 2 books, or 2 series by Jennifer Ashley that I was hoping to make progress in. The Mackenzie Mcbride historical romance series is one of my favorites. And for some reason, this book has stumped me because it changes, it changes characters because it does a story that goes back in time. So there's 3 books in a row that are a different era. I think it's the 1745. So we went from 1890s to 1745. So I just haven't picked this up, but I reread a couple of the books this year. Still didn't get to this one. And then I also wanted to read her urban fantasy, Shifters Unbound. I actually reread like 5 or 6 of the books, but I didn't get all the way to where I had gotten up to where this book is. I think this is book 7. I mean, I read a lot of the books in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, there's quite a few. I don't even know what number this is. Point is, this is the next book I'm supposed to read. I haven't got to it yet. I read everything in front of this except for, I think, 1 book and a couple of novellas. Anyway, so I didn't get to finish it, but I reread all of them and they were really fun. Anyway, another series I wanted to continue was the Druid or the Secret History series by Simon R. Green. The first book is The Man with the Golden Torque. I have read this. I read this quite a while ago, like probably a year or 2 after it first came out. And I was like, well, I kept collecting them because Simon R. Green is one of my favorite authors. And I kept picking them up, but I wasn't reading them. So I decided this year to reread this one to see if I wanted to continue on. I've decided to abandon this series. It is just not for me. It's written differently than a lot of his other books, which I really enjoy those the way they are. This one just was a little much for me. I just didn't enjoy it. So, I mean, somebody else might really like them. I had like 8 or 9 of them in this series. So I'll be getting rid of all of those. I was hoping to continue the Peter Grant series, which is another urban fantasy. This one is like a police procedural urban fantasy. So it's a cop who works for I don't remember what it's like, you know, the unnatural stuff. I don't know, but he deals with all the weird stuff. And I really like the series. I haven't picked up the next book, and I have quite a few to pick up of that one as well. Hopefully I'll get to it at some point. So I also wanted to continue with the Destroyer Man series, which is an alternate history. World War II, destroyers get pulled into an alternate universe where evolution has gone a different route on Earth. And I really love this series. The first 4 books, I've read the first 3 books 2 or 3 times. And then I read the 4th book, and then I meant to continue, which is book 5 for Rising Tides, and I just never have. So I'm in the process of rereading. I already read the first book, Into the Storm. I'm hoping to reread more of them this year and continue the series. It is now complete at, I think, 15 books. So I don't own them all. I stopped at like 8 or 9 because I was not reading them. So I need to get back to the series. These are just, I mean, this is one of the best ensemble cast books that I've read, that I just enjoy these so much. And I just haven't picked them up, and I have so many of them, so I need to do that. But I did start my reread, but that's about as far as I got on 1 book. And then I'd also wanted to continue the Lady Astronaut series. I'd read the Calculating Stars and really enjoyed it, so I wanted to read The Fated Sky and then the Relentless Moon. Is that what it is? I think whatever the 3rd book is. And so I didn't. The 3rd one came out in July, and I still hadn't read this book, so I didn't touch that series. And then the series I wanted to start, let's talk about the ones I actually did read. I did read the first book in the Black Jewels trilogy by Anne Bishop. It's Daughter of the Blood. So I really enjoyed it, even though it's very dark fantasy. Not what I expected at all, even though I'd seen trigger warnings, things from people. But I really want to get back to this. I only read the first book, but I'm already to the point where I think it's been almost a year since I read it. I want to reread it and then continue on and try to finish out the first 3 books at least. I know the books, I think there's 8 out or just 9. I don't remember what it is. I know she started continuing with a new trilogy just recently, and so people were like, why? But I want to at least read the main books, and I know for sure I want to finish this trilogy, but I did not get farther. I did start it, so that was a goal met. I did start it. I also read Embers of War by Gareth L. Powell. So this is the first book in the Embers of War series. I read the first 2 books in this series and then DNF'd the 3rd one. So I will not be continuing and finishing this series, but it is done to me. And but at least I did do one. I did get to that one. And then I did pick up A Study in Scarlet Women by Sherry Thomas. Sorry. So this is the first book in the Lady Sherlock series. And I read the first chapter and I didn't really click with it. So I don't know if it was just that day. I've decided to put it back on my shelf. I will try it again at some other time. It might have just been that day. I do remember having trouble picking a book that day. So I just decided to think, well, maybe it's just me. I wasn't ready for a mystery and a Sherlock Holmes reimagining with a woman. I think her name's Scarlet. Yeah. So I don't know. I hear really good things about this series, but it didn't really, so I tried it, but I put it back. I just wasn't ready for it. And then I don't know why I have not picked up this book. This is Hot and Badgered by Shelley Lauriston. She is one of my new favorite, like, funny writers with romance and fantasy. So this is an paranormal romance that follows honey badgers. And they are hilarious. At least they sound like it. I know I read the first chapter a long time ago. When I first got it, I think. Or even online maybe before I got it. I don't remember. I read it a long time ago going, oh, I really want that. And then I have all 3 books in this trilogy and I have not picked it up. Just, I don't know why. So anyway, this is definitely one I'm going to pick up pretty soon, I think. Because I just finished one of her other series, or I've caught up on one of her other series. And I really want to read more of her. So again, this is about honey badgers. And I didn't start that one. And I didn't start Amberlow by Laura Elena Donnelly. So this is like 1920s, like a fantasy world, but kind of has that kind of stuff in it. Just fantasy. I heard a lot of good things about it a couple years ago, and I bought the first book, and I've just never gotten to it. It's another series I would like to start, and it's a trilogy, and it's complete, and I should be able to get through it, but no, I haven't started it yet. So those are all the books that were on that video that of series that I wanted to finish, continue, or to start. So of those ones, as I said, I didn't do very well. So, but I do want to just make a really quick note in here that of all my series stats for 2020, I DNF'd 2 series. I finished 3. So none that were on this list, but you know, I finished 3. 7 of them I'm up to date on. So there were ones I was continuing, like so I've either caught up with books I had already or the books that came out this year, and then I finished those. And then I started 6 new series. But luckily, and again, these are not ones that I'm caught up on. They're like ones that I've read one book and then there's a couple books out, or, you know, something like that. So there were 6 new ones I started. Although, yeah, that's right. So they all have stuff I still need to read. So, you know, I didn't do that. That means I only like attempted things on what, 9? Is that right? No. What did I just say? 5 and so 18 series like I touched on, but that's not a lot with how much I read in a year. So I definitely want to up that number. I want to do better on either making decisions on getting rid of them, or that I don't want to focus on them anymore, or, you know, or I want to get through the series and get, you know, make progress on them. I just need to make more decisions on that. So I pulled a few. So all these ones that are on from last year are still on the list of ones I want to get to. Just be aware, I still want to get to those that I didn't DNF or, you know, get away from. But the ones I want to, other series that I want to try to get to sometime this year is I want to get back and finish the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett. So I have 9 books left. Now 5 of them are from the Tiffany Aiken series, and then 4 of them are from the regular series. So this one I'm going to read We Free Men, and if I don't get along with because these are more, I think, more middle grade, so I'm not sure I'm going to get along with the Tiffany Aiken books. I think they're more middle grade. There's something, they're different anyway, but they're a different series. But again, I want to read finish the Pratchett ones. I mean, I want to be able to finish it so then I can go back and read. I want to read the City Watch ones, all the guards. I just love those books. Those are my favorite. Anyway, but I still have 4 of them that I haven't read of that. So I would like to try to get through a lot of the Pratchett's this year. I would like to return to what is this called? The Songs. Oh, I can't remember his name. Is it Songs of Isaac? Songs of Isaac series by Ken Scholes. So I read the first 2 books, and then I had to wait for books because it took him it was like a 10-year span from the very beginning to the end of him to write the books. And so by the time book 3 got released, I was waiting for paperback, and then it then took a while for me to get that, and then the next 2 books didn't come out in paperback, they came out in hardback only. So I had to collect them all, and then, so now I have to, so I read the first 2 books so long ago, I don't remember them. So I want to go back and reread the series, the first 2 books. I think I have them on audio, which are really good audios. I think they're one of the only ones that have multiple voices that I really enjoy. So I'm probably going to re-listen to the first 2, and then, because I've read those before already. And then, I did try to re-listen to this at one point, and I at the time didn't work out, but but I want to finish this series because it's all done. I want to catch up on this series before the 3rd book comes out this year. So this is the 2nd book in A Gathering of Dragons by Mila Vane. I read A Heart. I'm not going to remember the name. There's too many names in my head right now of books I've read. A Heart of Blood and Ashes. So anyway, the 3rd book is coming out this year. I think in June or July or something like that. Anyway, so I'm hoping to get to that, and but I want to get this one done first. So again, this one is more, this is like epic fantasy. Really good, actually. I forgot. I don't even know how to explain it because it's been so long, I can't tell you. But this one is like fantasy romance, but heavily on it's pretty equal between fantasy and the romance. And it follows, it's kind of more barbarian, dark fantasy, barbarian romance is how I would say it. Anyway. I'd also like to return to the Lindsay Sands Arjuna vampire series. I read the first 12 books, I think, long time ago. And then I want to reread. This is the last one to reread before I can start reading new ones. And it's been so long that I'm like, I'm not going to restart again. But I want to reread this one and then continue on. There's like 20 some books in the series. I stopped buying them at like 21 or 2 because I was so behind. But I really want to get back to these. These are just fun, light, paranormal romances with, again, vampires, romance stories, you know, different couple in each book. And the family is huge and fun, and just, you get to see them here and there, different ones. And I really enjoy this series, but I want to get back to it. It's just a lot of fun. But I need to do that. I would like to get back to the Witcher series. Sword of Destiny, which is the 2nd book of the short stories, is where I stopped. I tabbed it off so I could see how long each story was. But I don't like short stories, and novellas I like in certain things, but not so much in fantasy. I don't know. So I still need to get to this before I can get to the novels. But I'd like to this year at least get through this book and then hopefully get to one of the novels. I don't know. We'll see. I also am in the middle of the Bridgerton series by Julia Quinn. I have 4, I've only read the first 3 books, but I'd like to continue in this series and finish that again. Historical romance. And then, this is a weird one. So this is another one of those where I started the series and I've never finished. This is a 7-book series, The Crown of Stars by Kate Elliott. I loved the first 2 books. Loved them. And then I got partway through the 3rd book. And then I don't know why I stopped it. And I stopped it at a very important scene. And I don't know why I put it down. I don't know if I was worried about my characters, which really could have been the problem. But anyway, I didn't finish it. So now it's been like a decade. I don't remember the first 2 books very well. And I don't want to just continue into the series. So I would really like this year to hopefully reread at least 1, if not 2 of the books, and then try to continue on. So I'm hoping if I can read the first 2 books, reread those 2 this year, and then maybe next year that could be a part of our project to finish the series, because it is a 7-book series and they are all gigantic. But I'd really like to get back to this. This is epic fantasy, and I just liked the way the magic was and the political stuff and the characters. There's some characters in here I just loved, and I don't know why I stopped that series. It just upsets me. And then the last series that for sure I'd like to get to this year, I'd like to say that all these are for sure, but no, is the Barchester series by Anthony Trollope. I read The Warden, over 2 years ago now. I started Barchester Towers, it's been about a year and a half now. And I want to I'll restart it because I got about 100 pages in. But I want to finish this series of his, the 6-book series. And so, there is a read along, like, I think in the first 6 months of the year. I'm probably not going to do the whole thing, but in February, I think they're going to read, Barchester Towers. I think it's on Instagram. I'm not even sure what account that I follow is doing it, but if I find it, I'll list it below. But I do want to do this and try to get through at least this book. I'd like to get through several of the books this year in this series, so it'd be one of the classics I want to read, but this is definitely a series I want to continue in because I really enjoyed The Warden a lot more than I thought I would. And this one started out so good. It's just something happened when I was reading it. There was something going on in my life that I could not handle a classic at that moment. And so I put it aside. And it's just been a year and a half and it's been sitting there staring at me. So, but these are only a few of the books I really want to read. I still want to start a few books. So these are like, those are all series that I've, started. I'd like to read Deal with the Devil by Kit Rocha, which is urban fantasy, apocalyptic, sounds awesome. Mercenary Librarians. I really want to read that. I'd really like to read one or both of the Rebecca Roanhorse series, the Trail of Lightning. So I think there's 2 books out, but I only own the first one, which is urban fantasy, monster hunting. And then her epic fantasy, Black Sun, which is the first book in, I think, a trilogy, or yeah, I don't know if it's a trilogy, it's a series, and I think it's like Mayan influenced. Anyway, it's just like, there's so many books on my shelf. Like, I have way more series than I can say. But these are all the ones I think, like, again, I would like to hit a lot of these. I'd like to focus on some of these, but I know that that's like over ambitious. There's no way I'm going to hit all these, but I'd like to get through some of them and at least finish a few things, or at least make progress in some of them. And I know some of them I have to reread stuff, so I'm not going to get through all of them this year, but I'd like to make an attempt. And that's why I made this video. So it's just more of a remind myself how much I want to read these series. And again, I have so many series that I haven't even started. I thought I had like over 300 books or 300. I have more than that anyway. I thought I had like only like 30 to 40 books that were like first books in urban fantasy paranormal romance series. No, I have over 60 that are the first book in this series. And so I'm hoping that this year I'm going to do some try a chapter tags in order to videos so that I can try 5 books at a time and decide which series I want to continue and which ones I want to get rid of, because I just have way too many. I'm sure a lot of them are going to be great books that I will not get into, but it's just like, I got to get some stuff off my shelves that I've been there for years that I'm probably not going to read just because I only have so much time. So anyway, if there are any series in here that I want to still read that you've read and you think I should focus on those, let me know. Again, I have so many books I want to read and so many series that is why I'm hoping 2021 is going to be the year of series. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's it, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.